What is up, guys? It's Bart Johnson here, and welcome to a Wednesday surprise live stream here. As you can probably tell from the title and the thumbnail and from the Aputure release video that was just live about 30 minutes ago, we're going to be taking a look at a brand new light from Aputure, the 300x. It's awesome. They just publicly announced it and did a live event about it and gave all the specs and all that stuff. But the awesome thing is that this morning, one of them arrived on my doorstep. So I did know this was coming, full disclosure out there. You know, Aputure did send me this light to take a look at and to review and to put it through its paces. Now, obviously, since it only came today, I haven't had a chance to do any official testing or anything like that. So what I want to do today is more of a first looks. I'm not going to do unboxing because that's so boring. But I want you guys to be able to participate because this is a live show. So I want you guys to ask any questions that you might have about the light, and we're kind of going to explore this thing together. So as we know, this is a live show. So the beauty of that is that we have our live chat here. Here we go. This side. I always get that wrong. We were streaming a little early today. YouTube jumped the gun on me, but it allowed us some time to have a little chit chat in the chat there. But if you are joining us live here today, please go ahead and join the conversation, ask me questions, and it'll pop up right here in the chat. I think that's pretty much all that I've got to get us started. So first, let's take a look at some of the, I'm like sweating. See, I was rushing around trying to settle this up, and you'll see. But let's go here. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I do want to show it to you. So here it is. Here's the official site over on Aputure's website, the 300x Beyond Bicolor. So obviously it's another 300 series light, modeled pretty much directly the same as the 300D Mark II. The difference being that this is a bicolor light, capable of going from 2700 Kelvin all the way to 6500 Kelvin. But same Bowens, same build, same detached control box, at least in terms of the design. And it is available to buy now. And I do have an affiliate link down below where you can get it in stock at Autorama if you want to check that out. But yeah, so they've got plenty of stuff here on this website, the usual stuff you see for marketing a light. But obviously, you can look at this on your own time. You don't want to just browse the web with me. You want to take a look at the actual light. So let's pop in here and see what we've got going on. All right, so back to live chat, see who we got in here. Creative Films says, compare the output to the 300D Mark II. Yes. So like I said, I do need to do some head-to-head testing with this thing, get some color accuracy measurements, you know, especially at the tungsten end versus the daylight end, and I need to do all that testing. I haven't had much time with the light. It literally came here. I got it opened up, set up, and basically turned it on and whatnot. So we're going to take a look at it. But yeah, please do add in the comments here, or in the chat and in the comments below if you're watching the replay, specifically what you want to see from this light, and I'll try and get to testing that ASAP. How much more or less power does it have? We're going to talk about that. Is it the same brightness as the first 300D, not the 300D Mark II? Okay, so we can get right into that. But first, I'm going to take a look at the light itself. So let's see if all my cameras are working. All right, we've got it right there. Let's boot that up. All right, there you go, guys. Let me get in the shot here. So here we have it. Everything look good? Yep. I can still see my chat. Yep. I'll have to dart over to the computer to check the chat, but this is it. This is the Aputure 300x. Another one of the COB lights, meaning chip on board, meaning it's a single source, like a hard source. If you're familiar with the 300D Mark II or really any of their other COB lights, you know, it has this Bowens mount on the front. It came with this reflector that you can use, but it can take any of their Bowens accessories, any of the Fresnel lenses, you know, the 2X, and even the original if you wanted to put it on there. All of their soft boxes or any Bowens S-mount softbox really, and even what's really cool, their spotlight. So that's a big one that needed a little bit of work with bicolor in order to work, because you really have to have perfectly mixed colors when you're projecting your light, like with something like the spotlight. Any imperfections in the color mixing would be seen, and they've actually developed a new element on the front of this that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead. I'm going to turn it so that you can see it. So here you go. This is their new output element right there. So what it is actually beneath it is that LED array that we're used to seeing from the 300D and the 120D and that kind of stuff. So I don't know why I'm sweating so much. I've been running around too much today. So it's a similar one, but obviously it's got microscopic, both 2700 Kelvin and 6500 Kelvin LEDs mixed into this array that's in there. Now, the trick to get them to mix properly, because they're all these individual little sources, the trick to getting them to mix properly and become a true single source is they have this optical element. It's literally a piece of glass with a whole bunch of lensing on it, and it's got texture to it. I don't want to touch it, but it's going to properly mix the light from the LEDs beneath it, and is going to make sure that you have perfectly mixed color all the way through the Kelvin range, mixing those microscopic LED sites on that array. So let me take a quick peek at the chat. Let's see here. What a beaut. Okay, we're talking about the power. Okay, so we're going to talk about the power here. So, like with all bicolor light sources, if you compare them directly to a source of the same size that is strictly either daylight or tungsten, you're going to be sacrificing some output, because you have two temperatures of LEDs in the same surface area, so you are going to get less output. Ted was saying in their live event that they just did that this light, the 300X, will give you about 50 to 70% of the output of a 300D. Was that a Mark 1 or Mark 2? I can't remember. I was just talking about this. But yeah, so you are going to have reduced output, so it's not going to be the brightest in the lineup. That title is still going to go to the 300D Mark II. That is going to be the brightest, but the key for this guy is the versatility. The versatility is really what's going to just make this guy stand out. So it's a different tool for a different job. So max brightness, you're still looking at your 300D Mark II. Yeah, this guy is versatility, so about 50 to 70% of the output, depending on where you are in that color range. Now, that's the key thing, is as you ramp up in the color range of this light, obviously you're going to start mixing those 2700 Kelvin sites and those 6500 Kelvin sites. And so as those start mixing, obviously there's going to be kind of a bell curve. In the middle, where you have all of them turned on, you're going to have what they call maximum brightness for this fixture. Now, maybe you don't want that. Maybe you want to be able to have a constant brightness as you shift through the color spectrum. Well, they added an awesome mode into the control box here that is called constant output. And so what that'll do is allow you to go through the entire color range, and at no point will it get brighter. You set your brightness and it'll stay at that brightness. So you can do an actual shift of color temperature in a scene within a shot, and you won't have that peak where it gets bright at one point and then sort of rolls off. So the constant power mode, they've said that if you set it to that, the maximum output of this is more similar to like a 120D Mark II. So that's the comparison for those right there. Let me see what we got in the chat. Sorry, I keep ducking out to see the chat here. I'm just going to bring my iPad in so that I can actually read the chat here. So let's see here. Devin Hansen is in here. Good to see you. Shiznuts, of course, is in here. Yeah, talking about the price. So this light is available right now. You can go ahead and pick it up. I know it's in a whole bunch of retail stores, or you can get it from Aputure, their site itself, and it is $11.99. So it's about $100 more than the 300D Mark II. So you're really going to want to decide, which is best for you. Are you somebody who wants and needs maximum output? And then you want the 300D Mark II, or are you somebody who the versatility of being able to very quickly and very accurately adjust between color temperatures is going to be key for you? Then the 300X is going to be the one that you're really going to want to go with. So we're going to take a look at the control box here in a second, but I'm going to sit down and check our chat just a little bit. Keep up to date. Don't worry, I'll bring myself back up here. All right, there we go. So let's see what we got. We got a lot going on. So if you guys have a question directly for me, since I am popping around this room and running 3 cameras myself, please go ahead and at me and at Bart Johnson Productions, and it'll pop up and highlight it on my screen so I know that you're trying to get my attention. But I do want to go through some of this chat here. How much power, or more or less power, does it have? Yeah, that's what we were saying. We said it's about 50 to 70% of the power output of a 300D. Hang on, let me check something real quick. I want to make absolutely certain that I get this correct. Yeah, it's about 50 to 70, so it's closer to like a 300D Mark I is what it's going to be. Sorry, I have my phone set here as one of our video sources that we will be using shortly, and so I had to check my notes and my messages over there. Let's see here. Devin says, "Can you grill a burger on it?" They actually did also send me the Spotlight, which I haven't used yet. Obviously, it was released a while ago, but yeah, it's with that focusing with the power of some of these lights. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we could actually start to light some stuff on fire with it. Gerald vid was dope. Kevin Durunk, you talking about Gerald Undone? Yeah, Gerald Undone has great stuff. Book of Ken says, what's your initial impression of it, maybe compared to 300D Mark II? Any preference for you? That is a very good question, because that is the question that's on everybody's mind. Let's go back to the light itself. And like I said, it's that whole different tool for different workflow for how you work. So let me put this on here. So I have been a big fan of, well, all of these lights, all of the ones in this lineup from Light Storm. I've been using them since they just had the panels. But I'm a really big fan of the 300D Mark II. I just like having the ability to have that much power. I'm rarely running it at 100% power output, but I like to have the ability to do that if I do get into a situation where I need that. Now, I also would like to have the option to have variable color temperature also at my fingertips if I happen to need it. But to be honest, for the way that I usually find myself working, I think I would go with the 300D Mark II. Just my preference. I don't find myself in a lot of situations where I'm mixing color temperatures that much. And if I am, then I can throw gels on or do whatever I can to get my colors all even so that when I grade, everything grades properly. But this guy has its own party trick, and it's something that a lot of people have been asking for a while. And if you'll remember back in the day with the 120, there actually was a 120T, which was a tungsten only version, and it did very, very well, because not everybody does work in pure daylight workflows. Some people like to mix colors in a shot. Some people need to adjust to an existing color temperature. If you're shooting an interview with this, and like I said, you're in a room where you maybe check and then the color temperature is like 4700, you're like, okay, well, a tungsten light, they're gonna look too orange, and a daylight light, they're gonna look too blue. Well, with this, you can dial right to it. So I don't know if I would have picked this up on my own. But as I start using it more and more, I might fall in love with it. Who knows? My first impression is, yeah, it's a fantastic light. It's a fantastic addition to the lineup. And what's really promising and really cool is that technology that they have pretty much invented. They were saying, you know, it's the first and only of its kind of this this optical mixing of different color temperatures to get an accurate mix throughout the entire spectrum. That's amazing. So where the real potential is here is, what are they going to put this in next? You know, obviously they're innovating and they're advancing the technology of the lighting field, and who knows what's going to come next. And so that's the really cool part, is the implementation and the execution of this technology to be able to mix those color temperatures together. That's just, I mean, it's stuff that's way beyond me. I mean, I can measure stuff and light stuff up, but you know, it's all beyond me how they're pulling that stuff off. But it's truly amazing what they're doing. And this is a physical representation of a one-of-a-kind light. You know, there's nothing else like this. There's plenty of lights that claim to be, you know, single source bicolor. There's a few of them out there. But like they were sharing in the video, the way they implement it is not quite, well, it really isn't the best way to do it. Some of them literally have two sources that are kind of close to each other, one color temperature, one the other, and then they start trying to mix them. But then you're going to have uneven mixing, you're going to have problems. Then other ones implement it by actually doing striations. So they do like alternating lines of one color, then another, then another, then, you know, mixing them together, going back and forth. But as they pointed out, that might work for a softbox situation. But if you are putting on something like that spotlight mount or even a Fresnel, you know, that's going to start to break your things, you know, your light waves apart. And especially with the spotlight, I keep forgetting the name of that guy, especially with the spotlight mount, you know, it's a LECO mount. So it is really just projecting this entire chip onto whatever you're projecting it at. And so if there are any striations or imperfections, or it's not mixing properly, it's just going to magnify that, and it's going to show up huge in your source of light. So really, to be able to work with light fixtures like that, like the LECO mount, like the Fresnels, they worked very hard behind the scenes to make this little chip right here happen. Let's see in our chat here what we've got going on. Asking where my third camera is. So we're going to get to the third camera in just a moment. It's actually my phone, but we're going to take a look at the control box here. So which one should I get? 300D Mark II with gels, or 300X? I'll use daylight mostly, 70 to 80% of the time, and 20 to 30% of the time tungsten. And then Hugh Tran says, get both. Yeah. That I can't say. If you don't mind going and carrying gels with you while you shoot, and you have the time to, you know, gel the light properly, if you got the 300D Mark II and gel it more to a tungsten color, then, you know, that works for you. But if you're in a workflow where you want to be able to change it, you know, real quick, time is money, you know, this is just a simple dial, or on the remote, or in the app. You know, the Sidus app is out there. So it's impossible for me to tell you which one to go with. It's just which workflow is going to be the best for you. Do you need that speed and accuracy? Because you can gel and, you know, you can calculate the gel and be like, okay, yeah, it should get me to this color temperature and everything. But this will tell you right on the box. So there's a convenience factor there and an accuracy factor there with the 300X. Sorry, I couldn't answer that question. Yeah, Hutran says, so all your bases are covered, just get both. Bill Pan, hello Bart, how are you? Hello Bill, I'm doing all right. Trying to keep up, you know, the Aputure guys got me on my toes here. I know it was supposed to be NAB week, but goodness gracious, man, they got stuff rolling, and it shows up at my doorstep, and I'm trying to watch their stream and see everything about it and then share it with you guys. So just rolling with the punches on this wonderful hump day here during quarantine. Book of Ken says, do you have the Aputure lantern modifier? It would be real cool to see this light in action with one of those lanterns attached. I do, actually. The lantern is actually lighting me right now with a 120D Mark II. I can do that later. Yeah, I can pull that off, pop it on here, and then we can light it up. So I'll do that in just a little bit. I do have a bunch of the modifiers, so... DL Moody, good to see you, man. Really like your 300D Mark II, but I get stuck with tungsten people enough that this sounds tempting. Yeah, so if you're working in an environment where you're going in and working with other people who maybe they have tungsten-based kits and you need to fit into their workflow, 300X is going to do it for you. But we've been staring at this thing plenty. What do you say we fire it up? I'm in kind of a small room, so I'm not really equipped to like shine it and show it and whatever, but we can see the colors. Let's do that. So this is where we're going to go to camera number 3. Oh, good. Nice butt shot. So here is the control box for the 300X. Obviously, it's very similar, actually darn near identical to the control box of the 300D Mark II. The difference is you'll see some carbon fiber sort of texture up here on the top panel, and obviously you'll see a big X. And obviously there are 2 dials, one for your color temperature, because 300D is 1 set color temperature, so this is just brightness. So that's pretty cool right there. Let me get this guy out of the way. But yeah, so this is your control box. You can obviously power it on right there, clicking the X. And then this should be a familiar readout if you guys have ever seen the either the 120D Mark II or the 300D Mark II. Right now I have it plugged in, so it's showing me that I have AC power. I'm also using the Wi-Fi remote that comes with it. This guy right here, turn it, oops, to turn it, I'm on C. On and off, and also control the color temperature and intensity. So there we go. And as you can see, the thing that's really cool with this as well is it's changing the color temperature in 50-degree Kelvin increments, as opposed to normally you see like 100-degree Kelvin increments. So you can really fine-tune the color of your light. All right, and then of course you can adjust the color temperature here, you know, 2700 like we said, all the way up to, it does make it take a long time to get there with the dial, going by 50s, to 6500. But they also have put in the middle of this here, there's a preset button. You can go in there and clicks of the preset button will take you through 5 preset temperatures along the range that they've programmed in there. So 2700, click it again, it'll go right to 32, click it again, 4300, 55, 65. And I believe you can go in and actually customize those. So if you do have some color temperatures that you find yourself using most frequently, you can program those in, I believe, under your presets, and then you'll be able to cycle to and through them very quickly. So you've got lighting effects, you've got the same deal where you can change the channel and group for controlling with the remote. And you have the wireless here, so this changes what controls it. So that's Bluetooth, that's off, and this is the 2.4 gigahertz. So while I have it on this guy will control it. If I switch it to the Bluetooth, my phone is actually recording us right now, but I could use the Sidus app on the phone, and now it would be in my system there, and I could control everything that it can do, the effects, everything, directly right here. So that's pretty cool. All right, so let's leave this guy on 2.4 so I have some control over it. Let's put just the general reflector on right now. Right now I'm blasting my main camera, so let's switch that shot up. There we go. Check our chat here. Worth It or Not says, hey Bart, hey, Worth It or Not, good to see you, man. Bill Pan saying, have you seen the new Godox COB LEDs? I saw them, I saw Gerald Undone's video about them. And yeah, that looked pretty freaking cool. I might have to try and check those out. And, you know, they'd be more of a test against like the 300D. But, you know, why not put all three of these into the mix, you know, see how they match up at the equivalent color temperatures. That'd be pretty cool. Book of Ken says, that would be dope. Thank you. I got so many 300D Mark IIs with lanterns on throughout my studio, just lighting up the area. So it'll be cool to see the ambience of this. And Shiznuts asks, is that real carbon fiber? So he's talking about on top, and there's a little bit of it here. I don't think so. I don't know. This almost seems like it might be up here. I don't know, to be honest. I would have to check that. I don't know how to quickly assess if something is real carbon fiber or not. But anyway, so we've got the light on here. Let me shut that off. So here we are. What are we set at? We are at full 6500 right now. So let's actually point it up at the ceiling. What am I doing? I love the new yoke design that they've had for these lights. This handle just really holds it rugged. And it has this 360-degree swivel. Obviously the cable's getting in the way right now. But here, this will show you guys what we've got going on. Let's bring you down a little. There you go. Now we can see the ambience coming off of this. And so just on the remote here, since I'm on the 2.4, this is their updated remotes, the RC1 Plus. So it actually has this effects thing in here that wasn't on the old remotes. And so also right here, I've got my color temp. So let's start taking this light warmer. And it is shifting, and it's getting warmer. Now, did you see that right in the middle there where it got really bright? That means that was that part of that little bell curve where all of the LED sites on the array were active at the same time, and so it had sort of a peak of brightness. So right now I'm at the full 2700. Let's see if we can go in there and check out that constant mode. So let's change up. Go to the iPhone. Let's see what we can find in here. So if we hold this, no, I know what I want to do. Hit menu, output mode, constant output. You see that? Hopefully you guys can see that. So I was on max output, which will let it just go with that sort of bell curve and go as bright as it can when they're all mixed together. Let's go to constant output and see what happens. Okay. Yes. Okay, so did that right in the menu system. Now let's take a look as we go through the color range as everything shifts back. All right, so yeah, we're still very warm here, so hopefully you can see the glow coming off the ceiling, but let's watch this go up through the color range, up to 65, and see the color will shift, but the intensity didn't. See, there's no spike. So it was at a completely constant intensity there. That's really cool. Despite the lack of, you know, you're getting a little bit of reduced output, you're never going to get it to its maximum brightness in this mode. I think this is the mode that this light's going to live in for me. Because if I need a serious output punch, they say that happens, you know, this is at its max between like 4500 and 5500. If I'm in that range, I'm going 300D Mark II if I'm really needing max power in that color temperature range, because the 300 will be daylight. This guy, I will probably leave it in that constant output mode so that I know that my brightnesses aren't going to get messed up as I start dialing in different colors. That's really cool. That is an awesome feature on this thing. Sweet. Let's see what we got. Any tips? Any tips or ideas on how to gel a COB LED with an umbrella softbox that has a center column for collapsing it and not letting you gel it without cutting the gels. Oh, that's interesting. So you've got, let me turn that light back on. There we go. We're a little bit more evenly lit. And let's turn you off. So you've got a COB and you're using a modifier that's like an umbrella, and so it has the thing through the center. I don't know on that one, to be honest. I'd have to sort of see what setup you had, and if there was a way to get it in there. It might just be, you know, clipping it, and you might just have to punch a hole in your gel. I'm not sure about that until I could actually see it, as opposed to trying to just visualize it. Sorry about that. But yeah, all right, so we wanted to check out the lantern on this just for fun, right? Let's do that. So I'm gonna turn off my 120 that has the lantern on it there. Let's take this guy. Why do I keep doing that? Oh, I know why. We're gonna turn him this way. Hopefully this will just turn into a glowing orb. So, of course, gotta love that Bowens mount. Pull this reflector dish right off, set it aside. We don't need it. Now I'm gonna go grab the lantern. Gotcha. Here is the Aputure lantern, another Bowens accessory. I actually do the same as what you were saying. You just have them around your studio just for ambient lighting. I rarely ever use the overhead. Come on, there we go. I rarely ever use the, can't even see me over this thing, the overhead light in this room because it's just hideous. So actually, while we've been living here, I've just been turning this on every day and letting it just fill this room. Let me get my remote and let's do this. Let's see if we get a big colorful ball. Oops, that's that one. There we go. Hey, that's not bad. All right, I can poke myself out here. All right, so let's make sure we go all the way. So this is, we're getting pretty blue. So this is 6,500. I'm in that constant output. Let's go down to, let's watch it shift all the way down to 2,700. That's cool. Here, because the camera's having a little bit of difficulty, let's drop the brightness so you guys can really see the color of it. So that's at 10% brightness, and I'm gonna go and cycle through the presets. So there's 32, 43, 55, 65, back to 27. That's the coolest part, is the cycling from 65 straight to 27. So there you go. You get to use the lantern there on it. Let's take a peek at our chat. So this is why I can't wait to rebuild my studio at our other house, because I had space, and now I've got, you know, however many lights and however many cameras all set up in this teeny tiny little room. Let's see what we got. Aputure's in here. All right, it's official. So Aputure's in here and says, Shiznauts, it's not actually carbon fiber, it's just a paint style. So there you go. It's not actual carbon fiber, but you know what? It looks freaking cool. It's got a little bit of a texture to it. And the important thing is it makes it stand out. So it makes that control box there stand out. Let me show you. So it makes the control box here quickly identifiable as different from the 300D rather. I gotta use that naming scheme there. See, this one doesn't have it up top. So if you had all these in a kit, you'd be able to very quickly just look in there and say, okay, this one goes with the X, and you can grab it. But they did say in their stream as well that even if you accidentally connect it to the wrong fixture or to the wrong control box, the control box is just gonna tell you wrong fixture attached, and then you'll swap them out if you have all of these in the kit and you possibly mix that up. Put that guy down there. And of course, guys, one of my favorite things that Aputure has done. So what do they call this? Their lightning clamp that's on the back of this. Like, to quickly and easily get your control box off. So there it goes. I don't want to hang it too much, but there you go. But yeah, this mounting bracket is just amazing. So you just take it, let me show you. It's got a clamp. You can just clamp it onto your light stand, whatever you want. It's spring loaded right here with this pin. And then on the back of the control box, you have this metal plate that fits into here. Sort of like a quick release tripod plate. Set it in the bottom, click locks, and that thing is rock solid on there. They started doing this with the 300D Mark II, and I think I heard them say they're also trying to get just that clamp out there so that people with the 120D Mark II that came just before they started implementing this lightning clamp, they're going to try and get it out there with some sort of kit, I believe, so that you can add this, because I absolutely love this thing. Just being able to click lock that guy on there wherever this goes. Now I pick up my light stand, I can move this whole thing as a whole, and you know, I don't have to worry about this thing slinging and hanging. You can, of course, still just hang it from its braided paracord right here, but you don't have to because you have that mount. And I use this all the time with my 300D Mark II. All right. I've got this giant lantern here. All right, let's see what we got here. Thanks for clarifying. Still looks cool though. At least it's not a vinyl decal. Yeah, it's not a vinyl decal. This thing is meant to take some serious hits. It is metal all over, just like its predecessor, the 300D Mark II. This thing is a tank. So, hey Aputure, Trevor says, man, you got the sheetrock up in your basement, wicked fat. Yeah, I'm not in that house. This is our temporary house. You know that, Trevor. Brandon Lee says, oh, if you connect the wrong fixture to the control box, it will say incorrect fixture. You can test it now. That's a good idea. And welcome to the stream there, Brandon. Brandon's the one who's been helping me out and helped me get some notes and a crash course on this thing and getting everything up and running. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, I'll show you guys what happens. This is the beauty of live, you know? Oh. This room's too small. Okay. So, we see this. All right, what do I want to do? I'm going to power this off. I'm going to remove my cable here up at the top. So this is a little 5-pin XLR cable that goes from the box up to the head, and it is plenty long. You've got tons of slack on that, so that's great. And then at the bottom, disconnect this power cord. This thing also a nice locking connector, just like the 300D Mark II. Awesome connectors, no doubt that it's secure. So I'm gonna use this quick release. Let's get the 300X box out of here. Let's get the 300D Mark II box connected. So now I've got the wrong fixture is about to go to the wrong control box. Brandon, this better work because I can't burn down another house. Yeah, that's the kind of jokes I make. All right, there we go. So I've got power in. So there we go. I didn't even get a chance, so it did power on when it got AC power. But yeah, right there, guys, it says incorrect fixture. No damage being done or anything like that. Just reminds me, and I'm like, oh, that's my bad. Turn this off. Pull that out. See why I love that thing? That hot swap just like that. Boom. Boom. We're back up. Just like that. Piece of cake. That's awesome. The versatility to be able to do that, you know, get that thing set up. If I was setting up the fixture for the first time, I mean, that's how quickly I was able to clamp that thing on there and get it running. All right, I'm gonna go to our live chat and take a seat with you guys for a little bit. See what we got going on here. Make sure I'm not missing anybody or missing anything. Thank you, Brandon, for pointing that out. That was awesome to do. Let's see here. Captain Jack says, I really like the addition of the carbon fiber paint. It gives it that little extra bling. Heck, my walking cane is made from carbon fiber, but the outside is painted on. Hey, you know, carbon fiber is a slick look. You know, Aputure wants, you know, their products not only to be slick, but to look slick, and that's awesome. Get some tea here. Trevor says that's a really nice modifier. The lantern, yeah, the lantern is awesome. I love it. Captain Jack's talking about the lantern as well. I'll put some links down below after the show if you guys want to pick up any of the modifiers. Pretty sexy. Will there be a 120x as well? That is a very good question. Will we be seeing... You know what? I'm not sure if we would, because you're already getting in the lineup a reduced output. So if you went down to 120 and did the bicolor, it would be even less of an output. So I feel like they would rather go up. Maybe we'll get, you know, they have the forthcoming 600D. Maybe we'll get a 600X. Because if anything, you'd probably want bicolor, but you'd also want output to go up as opposed to working their way down. So, you know, I can't speak for them, but if it were me, I probably wouldn't look into making a 120X. Captain Jack says, incorrect fixture. I love the idiot proofing. I get in a hurry often, so I make those kind of mistakes. Yeah, like I said, it's possible. It's something that would happen. Or, you know, maybe you're working with someone and, like I said, you have all your lights in one big kit and you ask them, hey, go grab me the control box. And they just grab one and happen to grab the wrong one. Well, instead of risking doing any damage to the lighting fixture, it just tells you, hey, oop, wrong one, and then you go ahead and switch it out. So that's pretty good. Book of Ken's asking, how loud are the fans? That is a good question. Let me go over here. So, long story short, they're not very loud. They're just as silent as the 300D Mark II. I do have some fan noise in this room, but it's actually coming from a giant V-mount battery charger that's up there running. But I will go ahead and we'll get close to the light and turn it to 100% so you can take a look. So let's go do that right now. Brandon Lee, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Captain Jack. Nothing, nothing is idiot proof. Let me get a hold of it. All right, Trevor. Well, if you want me to ship this off to you and see what kind of damage you can do. All right, so to make this a little bit easier on us. Oops. It's nice that a lot of these bones won't swivel around like this, but the hard part is that I want to tighten it so that it doesn't swivel so that I can actually unlock it instead. There we go. A little pro tip there. There's a little screw on these that if you loosen it, this is able to swivel inside so you could turn it around. It's more for soft boxes with like a shape to them, like if they're square, or like a strip box, you could turn it either way. Anyway, sidetracked. Put that guy down. Let's put this guy on. I'm going to point him at the ceiling and towards you guys. So here we go. So I'm going to kick on that light so you can really get a good look at these fans. But it may be a little harsh because I took that modifier off. Oh, yeah, that's harsh. But anyway, you can see the fans in here. They're running. I'm going to crank them up. Crank this guy up to 100%. Holy God. Shut that off so that we're just running this. So we are at 2700 right now, running 100%. And here's the fans. I can hear the fans in my Mac Pro whistling louder than I can hear this when I'm right next to it. I got some dust or something that I need to take care of. But yeah, let's run it all the way up to 65. So 6,500, 100% output. Not bad, right? And of course, I believe this has the option as well. Let's see if it has that, that option in the controls that the 300D2 has. So we go to menu, firmware version, studio mode. Here you go, fan mode. So force means they're always on. Auto means that they will only go when needed. So now they're actually, oops, knocking stuff over. Now this light is still on, but it's not hot enough that it needs the fans. So the fans have actually shut off. So you can change that mode where you can force it to always be on, or you put it into this auto mode, which is probably what I'm gonna leave it in, so that the fans only kick on when it really needs the cooling to pass through. So pretty cool. I need to put my lantern back. All right, let's get back into the chat here and see what we've got going on, guys. All right, let's see what we got. How loud are the fans? Took care of that. Let's see. Nothing is idiot proof. We got that one. When can we expect a 600D to come out? You know what? I don't know. We heard about it. It was teased. You know, they're working on it and developing it. I definitely would be interested in one of those because I'm one of those more power guys. You know, I'm like, oh, we need more horsepower. Even though I would never use it. Like, what am I going to do? Like shoot an interview with that with it cranked to 100%? Like I'll melt the person. They won't be able to see for a week. But, you know, if you are shooting outdoors or you need to shoot from a distance, the 600D, that's going to have some output. But here we are, you know, we're like, we just got a brand new light and we're already talking about, well, when are we getting this one? Can't we ever be satisfied? The answer is no. Anyway, let's see here. Guys sharing some cheers. I'll have a beer after the stream, probably, you know, iced tea right now. So she's saying 3 more Wednesdays of announcements too. Curious to see what else is coming up. Yeah, I'm curious as well to see what else is coming up. That Aputure is releasing. You know, it's what would have been NAB week right now. And so, you know, companies are releasing stuff, and I think it's really cool that they're, you know, they're dangling the hook out there for us and keeping us on the line. You know, like we get one new thing a week for a month in total. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And it's also cool because these are products, or at least the first one with the 300X, that, you know, it's shipping today. So I got one a little early and it was at my doorstep today, but you could potentially have one at your doorstep. Well, I would say tomorrow, but shipping in the entire world seems to be messed up. So quickly you could have one there. So, you know, they announced it and it's out and it's ready. So hopefully we'll be seeing these in people's kits. Brandon saying, are you in max or constant output? So I had switched Brandon to constant output. Let's see here. I like that constant output more than the max brightness. Like I said, if I'm going for real horsepower, I'd probably give the 300D Mark II. Just because I have both, but all the brands from NAB. Oh, that's a good note there. So Brandon says the auto, like I just set the fans to auto as opposed to constant. So the fans will only trigger when the internal temperature is 40 degrees Celsius and above. Now I am a typical snobbish American, and I don't know what temperature 40 degrees Celsius is. But there you go, 40 degrees Celsius and above, that's when the internal fans on the head will kick in. Now, keep in mind, we need to keep this in mind, there are no fans on this box. The entire control box, just like the 300D2, is completely passive. So there's no fans, it's just all these metal fins, and the metal body helps to dissipate all of the heat. So there's no fan noise that's going to be coming from this at all. So your only fans are in the head, and you do have the option to set them to only kick on when they are needed. So that's fantastic. And I do want to show you guys, again, this will be sort of similar to the 300D Mark II, but of course, you can run them on batteries. So these are the batteries that I use and have had luck with powering the 300D Mark II, and I want to try it on this. They recommend batteries that are able to sustain a 15 amp draw, and on paper, these HyperCore primes, I think they say like 13, but I've been able to get them to work. So you might want to, pick up something that is 15 amp draw and above just to be safe. But these are what I use. These are what I had. So I wanted to go ahead and try that. Let me get out of here. Okay, so first I'm going to power it down. Light is powered down. And here we go. You can see on the side here, the battery mount on one side is red and on the other side is black. That means this is your primary, because this can actually run at reduced power on a single battery. But first we're going to go double. Oh, actually single kicked in right away. So it says 100%, but the output is actually reduced, probably by about 50%. But it is running off of that battery, and it is telling me my battery runtime here is over 2 hours, and actually the side of my battery here tells me, it says it'll run for 3 hours and 45 minutes like this on this single battery with this HyperCore Prime. This is a 190 watt hour battery, so this is a beefy one. But let's put the second one on. I actually like to power it off. Click. There we go. Now we are at full output. It's much brighter in here. And with these 298, it's saying 3 hours, about 3 hours and 20 minutes with two 190 watt hour batteries running on here at 100%. So that is not half bad. All right, let me get up and get back to chat. Here we go. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, what are people saying in here? So Brandon says, okay, so Brandon told us about that. 1K HMIs are still $10,000. Yeah, HMIs are still, they've got some serious output, but yeah, they are super expensive still. LED is catching up, at least to the low end of HMIs in terms of brightness. The high end of LED is starting to creep into the low end of HMI. So I think HMIs will still always have their place, especially in really large productions where they're lighting, like an entire parking lot or something. But yeah, for us who are sort of, the indie guys or the smaller productions and, production houses and all that, these lights are becoming incredibly affordable and incredibly versatile. Like I said, this one's only $11.99, and that's a great price. I mean, a few years ago, even like 2 years ago, that would be completely unheard of to have this output, this form factor, this versatility. That's just crazy cool. Brandon says 104 Fahrenheit. Thank you for doing the conversion and humoring me there. So 104 Fahrenheit, awesome. She said saying everyone should go metric. Yeah, why would we do that? It only makes sense because everything's base 10. No, forget that. Things freeze at 32 degrees. Everybody knows that. It's a perfectly rational number for freezing. Whatever. Now, one thing I did want to look at that I thought was pretty cool is they have some new effects built into this light. I don't use the effects very much, but I might start now that they've got some cool ones in here. So the ones that Ted specifically was showing off that are upgraded is the fire effect and the TV effect. Now, these are two effects that can greatly benefit from having variable color in there. So, you don't have, fire does not have a daylight, color, but flickering fire can range and get a little bit brighter, a little bit whiter and that. So they have a fire effect. I want to take a look at that. And the same is with the TV effect. So before we had that sort of pulsing and fading in and out that made the look of somebody watching a television set. Well, now it's going to look even more realistic because not all of the light coming from a television set is just one set color temperature. You know, you're going to have different things on screen that are going to vary the color temperature that's, you know, bouncing off of the viewer's face. So that one is upgraded and supposed to be pretty much more accurate and more convincing. So I'm going to take a look at that in just a second. So Captain Jack is saying, I learned the metric system in grade school. So we're talking back more about metric system. Let's go check out the fire effect. I really want to see that. So let's go, first we'll set it. And I'm going to leave this on battery. Still saying 3 hours and 18 minutes. So that's a pretty accurate assessment there. That's pretty cool. All right. So here's effects. Oh, there's fireworks. I don't want fireworks. Not faulty bulb, not lightning. TV. Pulsing. Oh, goodness. Explosion. Oh, that's cool. All right, so I'm going to switch to the overhead so you guys can really see this. The phone is adjusting its its exposure live as it goes, so. So here, I don't know if you guys can really see that, but look at the flicker. And it's definitely changing in color temperature, not just intensity as well. So it's getting a little bit lighter. And of course, there are even more customization controls in there to change the frequency, change the colors that you want it to turn. So a lot of control. I'm not going to go in there and customize it right now. But you've also seen now it's actually, it's going to get bright. The fans have kicked on now because we've had this thing running at a pretty high rate. What are we at, 100% still? I believe so. Yeah, we're at 100%, and so it reached that 40 degrees Celsius, 104 degrees Fahrenheit, and now the fans have kicked on. But so silent that I didn't even notice in here. So there they are. But that's cool. Awesome. So yeah, new effects. Very, very cool. All right, back to our chat here. I'm going to leave that little fire effect going in the background. Look at that, that's pretty cool. Very cool. All right, let's see what we got. So we're talking a little bit, okay, so we're still talking metric and everything like that. So we're right about at that hour mark, which is awesome, guys. I knew there was a ton that we needed to go over and cover on this light. And there's still a ton more that I need to go in and explore. I need to do some tests, and I need to check color accuracy. I need to see some real world solutions for doing this. Yeah, you like that fire back there? Here, I'll turn off my hair light and let just the fire go. There we go. So yeah, now I'm just chatting with you guys, and I've got my nice, fireplace over there. Just staying cozy and hanging out. So there you go. There's the fire effect. That's pretty convincing, and I'm just using the reflector. If you put that in like a lantern or a softbox, it could be pretty cool. All right. So if you guys have any questions that you want me to answer, I think I've pretty much gone through everything that I wanted to cover. Definitely go and check out the Aputure event. They really went into detail. Check out the website for the 300x. I've got that listed down below, so you can really get all the specs, all the items on paperwork, and the spec sheets. But yeah, I really do need to go ahead and find a way to test these. It's going to be tricky during quarantine, but I'm going to find a way to do it. She's not saying 96 plus CRI, TLCI, right? Yep, that is what they said. And they said the SSI right there, the SSI at tungsten is 85, which is actually a very good score. Furworks, I knew somebody was going to say something. Are you sure you want to have a roaring fire so soon after what happened? Yeah, is the fire effect really what I want after what happened at our house? Yeah, so makes the rental remind him of real home. Man, you guys are terrible. Hey, but you know, I could use this now to promote my, if you guys haven't seen it, I started the new series on this channel, the Studio Rebuild series. I've got episode 1 out right now where I show you guys the status of what it looks like over there right now. And there will be episode 2 coming very soon about plans. And then we also have, we just got confirmation today that construction is starting May 4th, Star Wars Day. Awesome. So I gotta get cranking on this series. I'm gonna have content coming at me real quick. So there we go. Small Brown Fox, thank you. I appreciate you coming in and joining. Do you like a tea more than coffee? Yeah, so I don't really drink coffee. I actually drink pretty much iced tea. I love it. I go through a lot of it. A lot of it. Yep. Yeah, iced tea. But there you go, guys. So that is, that's so bright. I need to put this back on here. That is the 300x. Just released today. There we go. The latest in the Aputure lineup of their Light Storm COB lights. Really, really cool light. Definitely going to play with it some more. Love the constant output setting on there. Love some of the updated effects like the TV and the fire. And just a really cool light. Happy to have it in my kit. And I hope I can, you know, get everything back to normal so I can give it some work to do soon. But yeah, really, really cool light. If you are interested, you know, I do have an affiliate link down below, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys do plan on picking one up, if you go ahead and do that. But, you know, if you feel like it. If you don't, then you don't. That's fine. Yeah, that's it right there, guys. See if we have any last questions coming in. Long Island iced tea. No, just regular iced tea. Long Island comes after the stream. Okay, which means it's time for this stream to come to an end. So I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out here. Sorry, I've been bouncing around all over the place, but hopefully I got to show you a lot of the features that I'm excited about with this light. Hopefully this gave you a good look at it, answered some of your questions. If you do have any more questions or anything you want to see about the Aputure 300x, please go ahead and leave them in the comments down below after this video is published. Yeah, I'll make sure to see you guys in the next one. We are going to get back to every Saturday, and actually we'll probably be talking about this a little bit more on Saturday as well, because I'm going to do a virtual NAB wrap-up of all the announcements that have been happening this week. So make sure you join us on Saturday for that. And if you're worried that you're going to forget, there's an easy way to take care of that. All you got to do is go ahead and click that subscribe button and the notification bell down below, and you won't have to worry about it. You'll get an alert when Saturday comes by and it's time for the show. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you hanging out. And for all of you watching the replay, if you made it this far through my bumbling, you're awesome. All right, everybody. Take care of yourselves. I got to go shut this thing down. Where is it? There it is.